Chapter 12. I'm warning you, Mr. Blake, Arthur said. We've got to go back. No way, Dad protested. We're not going back. I mean it. The dogs barked and skittered nervously. Arthur shook his head. I won't go any farther. The dogs won't either. Dad shouted, Mush, to the dogs. They howled and started backing up. Mush, he cried again. Instead of going forward, the dogs tried to turn around in the snow. You're upsetting them, Arthur said. They won't go any further. I told you that. If we turn around now, Arthur added, we can make it back to the cabin before it gets too late. What are we going to do, Dad? I asked. Dad frowned. Maybe Arthur's right. Something is definitely frightening the dogs. There could be a bear or something nearby. Not a bear, Mr. Blake, Arthur insisted. These dogs are spooked, and so am I. He marched away across the snow, heading back toward the musher's cabin. Arthur, Dad called. Come back here. Arthur didn't turn around. He didn't say a word. He just kept walking. He must be really scared, I thought, and that sent a chill of fear down my back. Still barking excitedly, the dogs pulled the sled around and started following Arthur. Dad peered into the woods. I wish I could see what's out there. Let's go check it out, I urged. Whatever it is, it'll probably make a great photo. That usually gets Dad. He glanced back at Arthur, the dogs, and the sled rushing toward the cabin. No, it's too dangerous. We have no choice. Let's go, kids. We trudged back to the cabin. Maybe I can persuade Arthur to push on tomorrow, Dad muttered. I didn't say anything, but I had a feeling it wouldn't be easy to get Arthur to climb that snow rise. And maybe Arthur is right, I thought. Those dogs really were scared. It was definitely creepy. Arthur was unhitching the dogs from the sled when we reached the cabin. The dogs had calmed down a lot. I yanked off my backpack and collapsed on top of my sleeping bag. We might as well eat supper, Dad grumbled. I could tell he was in a terrible mood. Jordan, why don't you and Nicole go gather some firewood? But be careful. We will, Dad, Nicole promised. I stood up and started out of the cabin. Jordan, Dad scolded, put your knapsack back on. I don't want you going anywhere without it. Understood? We're just going for firewood, I protested. I'm tired of carrying it. We'll only be gone for a few minutes, and anyway, Nicole is wearing hers. No arguments, Dad snapped. If you get lost, that food could keep you alive until we find you. You leave this cabin. You wear that backpack. Is that clear? Boy, was he in a bad mood. It's clear, I said, strapping on my pack. Nicole and I crunched across the snow to the nearest trees, then lined a snow ridge about half a mile away. We climbed the snow ridge. I made it to the top first. Nicole, look! On the other side of the snow ridge, I saw a frozen stream, the first water we'd seen since we'd set out. Nicole and I skittered down the ridge and started into the icy stream. I tested the ice with my foot. Don't step on it, Jordan, Nicole cried. You might fall in. I tapped the ice with the tip of my boot. It's solid, I told her. Still, Nicole said, don't take any chances. Dad will kill you if you have another accident. I wonder if there are fish swimming under there, I said, staring into the ice. We should tell Dad about this, Nicole said. He might want to photograph it. We left the stream to gather dead branches under the trees. We lugged them over the snow ridge and back across the snow to the cabin. Thanks, kids, Dad said when we burst into the cabin. He took the wood from us and started a fire in the stove. How about pancakes for supper tonight? He's in a better mood now, I thought with relief. Nicole told Dad about the frozen stream. Interesting, Dad said. I'll go take a look at it after supper. I've got to find something to photograph besides all this snow and ice. The pancakes cheered all of us up, except for Arthur. He ate a lot, but he didn't say much. He appeared jittery. He dropped his fork on the floor. Muttering to himself, he picked it up and started eating without wiping it off. When supper was over, Nicole and I helped Dad clean up. We were gathering up the supplies when the dogs started to bark. I saw Arthur freeze. What's that? I cried. What's upsetting the dogs? Chapter 13. The dogs yelped and barked. Was someone out there? An animal? A monster? I'll go check, Arthur said solemnly. He pulled on his coat and wool wrap and hurried out of the cabin. Dad grabbed his coat. Stay here, he instructed Nicole and me. He followed Arthur. We stared at each other, listening to the yelping dogs. A few seconds later, the barking stopped. Dad poked his head back into the cabin. Nothing out there. We don't know what's got them upset, but Arthur is calming them down. Dad grabbed his camera. You two get some sleep, okay? I'm going to check out that stream. I won't be gone long. He draped the camera over his fur coat collar. The cabin door slammed behind him. We heard Dad's footsteps crunching over the snow. Then silence. Nicole and I climbed into our sleeping bags. I rolled onto my side, trying to get comfortable. It was after 8 o'clock, but still light outside. The sun filtered through the window of the cabin. The light reminded me of when I was little. Mom used to try to make me take a nap in the afternoon. I could never sleep in the daytime. I closed my eyes. I opened them. I wasn't asleep. I turned my head and glanced at Nicole. She lay on her back, her eyes wide open. "I can't sleep," I announced. "Me neither," she replied. I squirmed in my sleeping bag. "Where's Arthur?" Nicole asked. "I wonder what's taking him so long." "I guess he's hanging out with the dogs," I said. "I think he likes them better than he likes us." "That's for sure," Nicole agreed. We tossed and turned some more. The sky stayed bright. The light poured in through the cabin window. "I give up," I groaned. "Let's go outside and build a snowman or something." "But Dad said to stay put." "We won't go anywhere. We'll stay by the cabin," I assured her. I crawled out of my sleeping bag and started getting dressed. Nicole sat up. "We shouldn't," she warned. "Come on, what could happen?" She stood up and pulled on her sweater. "If I don't do something, I'll go stir-crazy," she admitted. We bundled up. I pulled open the cabin door. "Jordan, wait!" Nicole cried. "You forgot your backpack." "We're just going out the door," I complained. "Come on, Dad said we have to. He'll be furious if he finds us outside, and he'll be even more furious if you're not wearing your pack." "Oh, all right," I grumbled. I hoisted the pack over my shoulders. "Like something's really going to happen to us." We stepped out in the cold. I kicked the snow. Nicole grabbed my coat sleeve. "Listen," she whispered. We heard the crunch of footsteps behind the cabin. "It's Arthur," I told her. We crept around to the back. It was Arthur. He crouched beside the dog sled, hitching up one of the dogs. 2 others were already tied to the sled. "Arthur," I cried. "What's up?" Startled, he turned to us. He didn't reply. Instead, he jumped on the back of the sled. "Mush," he commanded the dogs at the top of his lungs. The dogs leaned forward, tugging hard. The sled began to slide away. "Arthur, where are you going?" I screamed. "Come back." The sled picked up speed. "Arthur! Arthur!" Nicole and I ran after him, shouting his name. But the sled raced farther and farther away from us. Arthur never turned back.